Not yet.
Not yet.
Okay.
Okay, I think we're live.
Can someone
check that we're live?
We're not live yet. 2 secs. Oh, no, we're live. Yeah,
We're live.
We're live now.
we are live. Boom, this is amazing. Refresh the page, we are live. Right, we good to go?
Yeah,
I believe so.
Are we live in the original theme? I don't think we're live in the original thread, mate.
Okay.
We are
streaming.
Yes, we are. Yay! All right, okay, we are live. My God, like, look at the technology side of us lot. It's great. Guys, hello. Thank you for joining us. We are live. There are people joining in. We're up to 69 viewers, I can see online, which is amazing.
I'm just going to send the link to the folks on other page because
Thanks, Jamie.
not everyone realises it's a different one.
Yeah, no, fair play. We're busy doing about 5 things at once here. Can you spot when you get 2 bartenders, a bar owner, and a couple of brand reps trying to organise some technology side, and all trying to dial into Face Call and put it all live? So the point of today originally started out as something we could do to support the gin brands. It's obviously a trying time for everyone. We don't want to touch on it too much today. That was never the point of this. It was just to try and be fun and supportive on a Friday evening. And we came up with this crazy idea while we were recording the podcast to try and do the world's biggest gin tasting. And the plan was originally to do it in 56 North as a team. Sadly, obviously with the lockdown side, we don't want to all be in the same place, which is definitely the right call. So what we decided to do is try and hook up a technology-based one, which is Chaos. Jamie, to his credit, has found some software to make this whole thing work, and we're going to have an amazing evening, hopefully, drinking lots of gin and tonics. I've got a gin. We're off to a good start. And I thought I'd start off with the biggest local Scottish one as my first gin and tonic. Our lovely friends at the Isle of Harris. Am I holding that the right way around? I am holding that the right way around. So that's my first one of the evening, guys. The point of this evening, what we're going to try and do is we're going to bring some guests in. Obviously, due to the fact this is streamed now, it's a little bit harder for us to do. But we're going to bring some guests in. And we're also going to have a bit of fun. We're going to answer some of your questions. We're going to make some cocktails and drinks. We're also going to do a little quiz at the end. So we've got a good little evening lined up for you. I think the first person I'm going to bring in, if he's free and ready, is my lovely partner in crime here on this one, Jamie Shields, Summerhall Drinks Lab. Jamie.
Go to Sean.
Go to Sean. Okay. Right, Sean, come and join us.
Hey, how's it going?
Good.
I've got my gin and tonic ready to join in. Yeah, so I've got. I cheated a wee bit. I know we were supposed to buy bottles, but I actually have my Macintosh gin samples, which I've been looking forward to cracking into properly for a while. So,
nice.
What no better excuse than drinking it now, and I've got a few arrayed behind me ready to go as well.
Nice. It's the best way to do it. You've got to try some stuff as well. That's the point of doing a little gin tasting, is to try a few things, not just do one gin. And I've got far too many bottles beside me, frankly. It's going to be good fun. So give the listeners, and I'd say listeners, I'm so used to doing this as a podcast with you, mate. Give the viewers a bit of background. What is it you do as a day job?
Yeah, so I work for the Scotsman Food and Drink. I also wrote a book on Scottish gin, some may say mediocre book, on the origins of some of the major players in the Scottish gin game, their stories, what they've been up to, how they came about making our gin and things like that. So yeah, got quite a big background in gin, and I really enjoy being part of the scene.
Amazing. I've just realised I've never introduced myself. I'm James Sutherland, 56 North in Edinburgh. I should have done that right at the start.
Everybody knows who you are, though. Everybody knows. So
I mean,
James, I put the title up.
did you? What a hero! I love technology. This is why we've got Jamie as director in charge of this stuff. Is that when you and me look fully amateur, he's there to step in and make it work.
Yeah,
As you said before the broadcast, you've just been sitting on your bums waiting for me, and I've been running this.
yeah, like we're the swans and you're the legs.
So I think the key thing here this evening is just to make sure everyone has a bit of fun with gin. It's Friday night. It's been a trying week for everyone. I don't know about you guys, but I'm not very used to being this much in the house. So it's quite nice to pull a shirt on and sit down with a gin and tonic. It feels quite civilized.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is the first time I've actually done my hair this entire week. So, yeah, it's been quite good to actually... In fact, I've been wearing my glasses the whole week. First time I put contacts in as well. So,
Amazing.
It's quite good.
The only thing I will own up to is I put a nice shirt on, but I'm definitely wearing tracksuit bottoms on the bottom half as it's not on camera.
Yeah, the mullet, the party in the bottom and professional on top.
Exactly, you've nailed it. So Jamie, are you ready to join us now?
I am indeed, yes.
Right, so Jamie, come and join us. So Jamie, you introduce yourself properly for the viewers.
Yes, so my name is Jamie. I run Juniper Festival here in Edinburgh, as well as the Summerhall Drinks Lab, focusing on doing gin events at the lab with gin and chocolate tastings and cocktail classes, what have you, for the public and for private groups. Running Juniper Festival now it should have been its second year. In June, we are working on an alternative date later on in the year.
Yeah.
And I am the director of today's production. Apologise, my video quality looks pretty rubbish. Had some technical issues because I've had to learn how to use this in the last 24 hours. I think we're okay, but you guys' video looks great, but mine looks a little bit dodgy. So I'm going to be, as well as making some drinks later on, I'm going to be kind of making sure everything works okay. So if you do see me like ducking under the bar or typing something out, it's try to keep up with what's going on. I will try to, when the other guys are talking, keep an eye on any comments on the live feed. So please do comment down below, and I'll have a look, and I'll try and put those in and throw in any pictures that you've got. Feel free to send if I can get the chance. If I can figure out how to, I'll stick them on. We'll see how we get on. But yeah, also we've got this lovely kind of home bar that I've set up, so I am all set for lockdown.
Amazing.
Got some nice gins.
Brilliant.
And thankfully for me at Summerhall, where my drinks lab is, I'm right next to Edinburgh Ice Company, so I've got some beautiful Scottish ice that we've got, and I'll tell you a bit more about that. And I've also got Barney's Beer, who's given me a little keg of their sherbet, which is delicious. And
Oh, Jamie, we've lost you. You've gone sideways. Oh, brilliant. Oh, brilliant.
We've got the experience of the technical difficulties, is Jamie.
Right. I don't know if he's struggling, but I'm going to cut back in just to save him while he's doing his technical stuff. So I think the point of this evening, we wanted to bring a couple of gin guests in. And originally, when we were going to do this in the bar, we wanted to have a fair few people there. And obviously that proved fairly problematic with the lockdown thing. And we did briefly discuss trying to do this in the bar, but it's definitely the wrong call. I would stress to everyone in this stage, please stay at home, please stay safe, get deliveries to home. There's plenty of gin you can order online. There's plenty of tonic you can order online. There's tons of food you can order online. So you shouldn't be going short anytime soon. But yeah, we decided that the best plan would be to bring in at least one gin guest. And that gin guest had to be somebody who kind of represented particularly what we do up here in Scotland. Because I know we're being joined across the whole UK by loads of brands. And it was a brand that I think a lot of you guys will have seen before. It was our good friend Finn at Edinburgh Gin. And the point of bringing EG in was really, you guys have been there pretty much all the way through since the craft gin revolution.
Pretty much.
Finn, how are you, most importantly?
I'm very well, thank you. How are you? How are you getting on?
Good, mate. Yeah, I'm really good. I can see a solid collection of booze behind you. Actually, you're doing
I try
well.
my best. Yeah.
You're not going to go dry over this this period, I don't think.
No, I've been training for lockdown my whole life.
Good stuff. So listen, do you know what? I'm going to let Sean do a bit more of the questioning, but thanks for coming on. It does mean a lot. It was, you know what? And massive credit to a load of other brands that pinged all of us asking if they could be involved, and we would have loved to have had you, but sadly with the bandwidth limitations we can only have 4 or 5 people, so we'll try and do shout outs to some brands as we go, because everyone's been incredible, and that goes across the board. So Sean, do you want to crack on with Finn, and I'll pipe up as well as needs be?
Yeah, definitely. So first question obviously is, what are you drinking today, Finn? What have you got lined up?
I've got a plethora of things lined up. I thought, apart from the obvious Edinburgh gin serves, which I'll be getting onto later, I've got some Seaside and Rhubarb and Ginger here. I am currently drinking the Burley's Doddies gin.
Amazing.
It's a charity project they put together. It's a lovely thing to do. Alongside some other local friends, I've got a bit of illicit, some electric spirit here as well. But at the moment, classically focused on the Edinburgh gin Seaside with some Mediterranean tonic.
Nice.
I'll thought back on all the others I get through in the course of the evening.
So haven't you probably been one of the first major sort of craft gin brands that were there probably from the start roundabout anyway? I mean, I know Hendrick's were the sort of first in the main scene, but you guys have been around since what, 2010? Yeah, how has it felt to, be there from that period and see how much the category's exploded over the past 10 years? Has it been quite exciting?
It's been strange, yeah. It's been wild. I think when we first started, it was my folks selling gin out the back of their van at shows and stuff, and like going to little gardening shows, the Highland show, that sort of thing, and it's grown from that into something of an empire over time, and so many other great Scottish gin brands getting involved. It's been a quite an amazing period of time over the last 10 years for Scottish gin.
Yeah, I mean, I noticed that when I first started writing my book, there was only maybe, I think there was about 30 gins at the time, and then within the space of 6 months there was another 20 or so. So, I mean, I think the real interesting aspect of that for me is, much like the whiskey industry, there's been a real sense of collaboration. Do you find yourself being quite integrated with that and working with other brands and really helping out the Scottish gin scene?
I think we like to stay involved as much as we possibly can. I think, especially with like your mixer brands and stuff, we want to buy things. We work very closely with Heriot Watt University for developing gins. It's an amazing resource that we have on our doorstep, and where we can work with them, we will. I think the sense of collaboration around the Scottish gin industry is really strong and very much driving force behind it.
So, sorry to interrupt, Sean.
I've
got a quick one for you. It dawned on me actually that just between us coming on air and not, it's 56's birthday on the 1st of April. We'll be 12.
Wow, happy birthday.
You guys, I know. You guys will be 10.
I know. Weird, isn't it?
It's mad. Like I think the thing is, like, if you look back to where you were saying your mum and dad, or the family started out making gin and selling it on like basically farm shows and stuff, to where Edinburgh Gin is now, is basically a global company. That's incredible. It shows what can happen.
Yeah, a lot of hard work and a lot of effort. Good spirit of innovation behind us. Keep pushing, keep trying, and it's grown massively in the last few years. It's fantastic, and I think supported by the entire gin boom nationally. But a lot of work went into it, a lot of effort, but we're here now.
So you mentioned innovation there, which is one of the things we really wanted to talk about, as Edinburgh Gin are fairly known for their innovative products, the side projects you were mentioning, working with students to create gins and things like that. That's been a really important facet for your brand. How does that creative process work for you guys? Was it important for you to always be innovating and creating things that people want to try?
Yeah, I mean, if you don't innovate, you die. I think you've got to stay relevant. You got to push forward all the time. I think specifically with our Seaside gin, it was a big push to innovate for us for the first time. We took students, literally master's students from the Heriot Watt course, and we took them foraging for botanicals in East Lothian and put together a gin in collaboration with them. But as well as that, I think the gin liqueurs early on for us was a really big driver, like rhubarb and ginger. Putting rhubarb and ginger into a gin basically bought me a house. So yeah, it's a good thing. You know?
Do you know?
But I think constant innovation, constant drive, full strength fruit flavors nowadays is a big thing for us as well. Trying to work with our customers as well, giving them what they want. You know.
Do you know the best thing about you guys, and this is someone looking in from the outside in, is that you're constantly looking at what you can do next and what the next angle is, and you tend to always be that trend-setting brand. So many other brands look at you guys and go, well, that's what we need to do. You know, if I think back 10 years ago, there was probably 30 or 40 brands you could have got, and that was it. Now, and then you brought along the idea of the gin liqueurs. You've now upgraded that to the full strength gin liqueurs, which, tip of the cap to you guys, is an amazing idea because it's proper ABVs and proper ginny liquids. But they still have that familiarity for a lot of guests. And you're constantly doing things that are cool. Also, one of the sides I like to touch on, I love the experiential side of both my business and your business. And the cool thing you guys do is you're constantly doing the experiential side. You're integrating with your customers, and that's been incredible.
Yeah, I mean, when we set up our Rutland Place site, it must be nearly 6 years ago now. So the crew down there are fantastic. The tour guides, Taryn and the whole crew, they do a great job. You know, they work very hard to continuously keep tours exciting and like developing all the time. And they are fantastic and do a great. They put a great deal of effort into making sure the tours are fresh and well delivered every day. So I think the experiential part of our business is as big as our innovation side of the business. You know, they're both crucially important. It gives us a front to our business to allow people to see what we're up to, let them in, talk to them, you know, have a nice day, have a few drinks. It's great.
And do you know the best thing about it is that if you talk to anyone about gin in Scotland, it's one of the first brands people go to now. It is literally become that household staple. It's true though. I mean, you look at it in the supermarkets and stuff; it's everywhere, and it's good local liquid that you can actually get. Your main production is about 100 yards down the road from my warehouse, so it's we know where you're at, we know what you're doing. It's cool.
Yeah, you've even got Glaswegians like me drinking it, you know, even I never thought I'd drink anything the name Edinburgh on the branding, but yeah, it's great.
Do you know what, I think we should give a shout out to the boys at Glaswegian just for one of the best names of a bottle of gin.
Absolutely.
Cracking branding, brilliant, really tasty liquid as well. But one of the best bottles. Of those of you that haven't seen the bottle, have a look. It's proper cool. It's one of my favourites. So, Finn, I'm going to ask you one. You talked about the innovation side and all the rest, and now the production side. The new distillery, what's the setup? I know the game's going to be changing because of the current situation, but where are you at?
So we have planning granted. We are pushing ahead with it. Obviously, currently on. But yeah, we are pushing ahead with it. This is a very, very exciting project. It'll be quite the thing when it happens. It is going to be on East Market Street behind Waverley Station. It's going to be quite an incredible, groundbreaking sort of visitor experience. So really looking forward to it.
Well, I was going to say was everyone that's visiting Edinburgh can walk off a train and straight into Edinburgh Gin.
I should hope so. Yeah, absolutely. come and have a gin tonic before you go to your hotel. Sort yourself out.
So is there any ETA, or is that a silly question given the current circumstances?
I wouldn't like to give you one right now, but do keep an eye on all our social media. We'll keep everyone up to date. As soon as we're ready to go with it, we'll let you know.
Yeah, fair. And it is going to be an amazing experience. Jamie, you still potting around in the background? Can you hear us? I think we've lost Jamie. The director has vanished.
No, you must still be there because obviously the feed's still working. So.
Still going. I love this. It's like he's come up with the most high-tech solution in the world, and he's vanished himself. But sure, I'm going to ask you a question while we're waiting. So, sure. Yeah, you're back.
Yeah, there he is.
Yeah, good man. Sorry, we thought we'd lost you for a second. Good.
Innit?
So we've just kind of had a wee chat with Finn while you were getting yourself prepped up. I think the next thing I was going to ask Sean before I tried to get you was, Sean, what's your second G&T going to be? What do you reckon? Since we're doing a little taste.
I've been really into the Mysterio Pink gin recently.
Nice.
Quite enjoying it, full strength pink gin.
You guys.
I probably will rep the Glasgow side and go for Garden Shed.
Nice.
That's a great brand, and they've done a lot with them as well. So yeah, that's probably what I'll go for next.
Good choices. Good choices. I'm gonna self PR for a second. I'm going on to the Lindsay Southlock Black Raspberry next. That's my next one. It's I can't decide on the tonic yet. I'm going to come back to that. And actually, we've got a lot of questions later when we come to the Q&A bit, because we had quite a lot of people asking us about how to mix drinks, and I think we're all going to try and muck in and give you a bit of a help with that one, because it's a common question I get in tastings, and I'm sure it'll be the same for almost everyone. Finn, you'll get it all the time too. It's people asking, what do I buy? Where do I buy it? How do I make things? So that was it. Now, the next section we were going to do was, we wanted to keep this, it was officially supposed to be a tasting, not just us chatting and getting drunk. So the plan was to get Jamie on to do some drinks. Jamie, are you good to go? Or? We lost him again.
Yes, I am.
No, I think he's ready.
Jamie,
Are you ready?
I can see him on our feed. Hello, sir.
Yeah, like, what we're going to do, we've got a few messages.
You ready to go?
Jamie, we've not got you. We do have you. Amazing.
Turn your mic on.
Yeah. So it was on in life. Don't worry, we've got this.
We've got this. We're professionals.
What we've got is a few messages from our friends from the industry. So we put a little shout to some of the producers in Scotland, or from anyone they wanted to get involved. So we've got a couple of messages from some of the guys. So I'm going to bring those up now.
I'll go for it.
Hey guys, Luke here from Kinrara Distillery in Abbeymoor, speaking to you from our Edinburgh office, i.e. my dining table. Thanks to Jamie, James and Sean for hosting this evening. I'm sat here with a Kinrara Gin and Tonic with a orange garnish. Cheers.
I really hope you could hear that, because we could.
Brilliant.
I could see the levels, but I think we're fine. Also, I had a look at the comments on the Facebook post. I did intend to have a look at those and try and shout some out, but there are a lot of comments. So I've no way of keeping up with that. But feel free to chat, and they'll very well be available later on, so we can chat after the live stream if there's anything you really want to know. But
Jamie, I don't know if I'm still live, but there's people asking you to take your top off. That's all I've seen. That is the current live feed. Jamie, take your tops off.
Given the quality of the video that I've got right now, it would just be like some pasty blur that you're going to see.
Just fade into the wall.
I don't think we need that. Okay, yes, but we said we're going to do a little tasting. Obviously, this is the whole kind of part of this is to do a virtual gin tasting. So what we're going to do, we've got a few different things here. We're going to take you through the kind of tasting process. We're going to take you through making a gin and tonic, talk about garnishes and glassware and ice and all these wonderful things. We're going to do a little bit of cocktail work with one of our other special guests later on. But we'll just go through a few basics together. So if you've got a gin at hand there, make sure you pour yourself a fresh one. That is vitally important, because we're going to do a little gin tasting at the moment. So all we need to do is grab our gin. We're going to pour us a little measure. Now, of course, this is house measures since we're doing a virtual tasting, so however much you want to put in there. We are, since Finn's on the show, we're going to use our Edinburgh gin, lemon and jasmine.
Good man.
I'm just going to pour a little bit in here because I have quite a lot of stuff to do today, and I can't be drinking too much. Yes, so a tasting, if you've ever done a tasting of any kind, there's a few steps that we always follow. The first thing that we always do before it goes anywhere near our mouths or our nose, as we have a look at the appearance, because that can tell us something about what's in so the flavour that we might expect. If we're drinking something like whiskey, the colour can really tell us
Let me have a look.
about the flavour of the liquid. However, with gin, of course, most of the time it is clear and it is colourless. Sometimes that colour can indicate if there's any botanicals added after the distillation, if there's been aged in a cask, for example, but most of the time it is colourless. You can also see what we call the legs of the tears, that is some of that liquid that sticks to the inside of the glass. Now, we're just going to move straight onto the nose, give this a swirl, and get your nose right in there, and give a nice big inhale. You'll start to pick up on all the lovely flavours from our gin. So, we've of course got our lemon and jasmine gin. There are two particular flavours that you might pick out more than anything else. So certainly on the nose, a lot of bright citrus notes and that lovely kind of floral top note as well. So on the nose, pick up all these wonderful flavours and aromas. Next thing you need to do is give it a sip. So really try and chew that gin, try and swirl it around your mouth, try and get as much flavour as possible. Again, you're going to notice that lovely juniper notes, that kind of woody, piney forest aroma, and get that lovely citrus note again.
Jamie, I'm going to interrupt you for one sec, mate. If you can, I'm getting a few comments saying they can still hear us in the background. Can you mute us? Or shall we mute ourselves? We can do.
Mute myself.
I can mute myself. Good plan. Sorry, guys. I know you were mid-flow there, dude, but you got to listen to the punters.
Yes, thank you very much. That's a good point. Everyone else, just keep an eye on our. But fellas, can you just hear me? Can you give me a yes, a thumbs up? No, okay. Anyway, hopefully you guys can still hear me. We are on our tasting. Sorry, yes. So when we're tasting, it's a very subjective thing, of course. So we pick up on different things depending on your sense of smell and sense of taste, and your own personal experiences. Of course, the only way we can identify the smell of lemon is if you know what lemon smells like already. So everyone has all smelled different things in their past, therefore you'll pick up on different things. Not only that, you pick up on memories and experiences. It might remind you of people or places. It's a wonderful thing about our sense of smell. So, you can go in for another sip, see if you get more from that. We're going to go, and we're making our cocktails and our gin and tonics. We'll talk a little bit more about the different things we might get from our flavour and how to use that. But I thought we would make ourselves a little gin and tonic and really talk about the perfect way to make a G&T. Now, I'm not going to go into specifics about different gins and mixers because there are so many different options available. We will discuss it a little bit further down the line. But what I wanted to really drill down to is how to make the perfect drink. And that is the glassware, the ice, and the amount of these things that we use. So, the first thing we need to use is the right glassware. Now, the right glassware can be whatever you like. We've got a nice Cobra glass here. It could be a highball or a little beaker that I use in the drinks lab. Or it could be, a pint glass. If you want a pint of gin, you have a pint of gin. That's fine. But we are going to take a glass. We are going to fill this with ice. Now, this is a really important key thing that I always try and teach people because it seems a little bit counterintuitive to begin with. We want to fill this glass all the way up with ice. We often believe that more ice is a bad thing. We often believe that more ice will dilute your drink more. However, opposite is true. The more you have, the more ice you have in your drink, the colder it will remain for longer. The only way your drink becomes diluted is if that ice melts, and the only way your ice melts if your drink is warm. If you pack that filler with ice, you keep your drink cold, therefore less dilution. Of course, if you leave that gin and tonic for 2 hours, all the ice will melt and it will cause a lot of dilution. However, I'm assuming by tuning into this on a Friday night, you're not the kind of person who will leave your G&T for 2 hours, so you're fine. So we're going to fill this up with ice. So as I mentioned, I'm very lucky in the fact that I am right next door to Edinburgh Ice Company, so I've got beautiful, clear ice. Now, there is a difference between good and bad ice, and that is size and density really. What big ice cubes, solid ice cubes are not going to melt, a large surface area. Get some silicone ice cube molds, If you've got them already, or when it's safe to buy them off of Amazon or whatever, get those. Those little bags you get from supermarkets will melt really, really quickly. So try and get as good as ice as possible. Okay, so fill it up. We're going to add a healthy measure of our Edinburgh gin, lemon and jasmine. So it's actually a 50ml measure, sorry, I thought it was a 60. We are going to fill it up with our mixer. So this one here I'm using is another local product. This is Cushy Doos. You probably won't be able to see that, but go and check out Cushy Doos, an Edinburgh company making a really beautiful, like delicate tonic water, quinine free as well. So we're going to fill this up. Now the amount of tonic that you use will also depend or determine the flavour of your final G&T. The more tonic you put in there, the weaker your drink is going to be, the less of the gin you'll taste. But of course, if you don't put enough tonic, it's going to taste overpoweringly of that gin. So I like a 2-to-1 ratio, so 2 parts tonic to 1 part gin. So I'm going to do 50 ml of gin, 100 ml of tonic. Excellent. We can then choose to garnish this in a number of different ways. Now we are going to talk a little bit more about garnishes later, but we're just going to use a little bit of lemon peel. In order to do this, we're going to take a lemon and a knife, cut the skin off of that lemon. We want to use that rather than the flesh. Try and take as much of the pith off as possible and then gently squeeze that over the top of the drink. You're getting a lovely lemon oils. You can put whatever you want in here. I went to get my essentials earlier on and picked up a few other ingredients. So you can whack whatever you have lying about in there. So I've got some kiwi fruit because it was reduced. So I'm going to use that. Good. Okay. That is a little bit of basics on how to make a great drink at home, because of course just because we're locked down, just because we're stuck at home, there's no excuse for making bad drinks. We can still enjoy the best gin and tonic we can possibly do. So we're going to go back to the fellas, if I can figure out where they are, and we'll talk a little bit more about some gin. So James, you're on.
I'm back. I think I've unmiked myself as well. Is that me back proper?
Yes, it is.
Good man. Yeah, no, cheers for that, Jamie. I was watching the feed. It's hilarious. There's a lot of great gin and tonic recommendations, slight chaos, and a few brands causing all told problems in there. But guys, keep commenting on the Facebook group. It's class. I'm having a lot of fun reading it. Jamie, by all rumours, you need to turn your mic up a fraction. That's the latest chat. So
and take your top off as well, obviously.
And take your top off. Yeah, they were the two predominant factors coming through. But yeah, no, solid advice. Ice is an absolutely critical ingredient. I remember when I first started bartending, and one of the first things I was taught is that ice is your most important ingredient. Without ice, you can't make good drinks because it just waters it down. So I know it seems so counterintuitive, but the bigger the ice cube and the more ice you use, the slower the ice melts. It's absolutely key for making tasty drinks at home. And I did exactly what you said. I've got some of those silicone ice molds you get off Amazon that make the big 2-inch square blocks, and they're brilliant. They're absolutely perfect. They work across all cocktails. And they look cool if you've got friends around too. It looks like you know what you're doing, which is a big step in the right direction. Sean,
yes.
Anything from your side? What do you want to chuck at Jamie?
I was just going to say I'm quite impressed. One of the major things a lot of people ask me about tastings is what juniper actually should taste and smell like. It's one of the things that people are quite curious about. So how would you go about describing the flavours of juniper and letting people know about what they should be looking for in a gin?
Yeah, brilliant. So juniper is such a wonderful, really complex aroma, because just to kind of to take a step back, to explain the kind of flavour profile of anything really, we need to break this down to the fact that it's just chemical compounds. Aromas are just things, little chemicals in there that we pick up, and our brain kind of interprets that. So I mentioned obviously being very subjective, but with that in mind, there are some objective things that we can discuss. For example, one of the big things being a chemical compound called alpha-pinene. And that is very prevalent within juniper, and that gives that amazing pine forest aroma, which is that predominant juniper note. So when you smell it and it smells like you're walking through a forest, that's what it is. It's that chemical compound.
Strong geek.
So there are
I like it.
Sorry?
I said some strong geek there. I like it.
Yeah, I'm trying to hold back on the geekiness. So don't get me started. But we've got a bunch of different chemical compounds that will give you citrus aromas, it will give you floral aromas, it might give you a slight bit of spice in there as well. That's the kind of wonderful things, and this also will be determined by where the juniper comes from. You're in Scotland, for example, in the UK, we get most of our juniper from Italy or from Macedonia, from Bulgaria, whatever. And these different regions, different climates and different growing conditions will contribute to the flavour of that juniper as well. So there are a bunch of different things that might come through, and also of course how that reacts with other ingredients in that gin. So the juniper, really there are three big things I guess with that pine forest, floral and citrus aromas. Does that answer your question, Sean?
Yeah, definitely. The other thing I was just going to ask quickly is another one that a lot of people are curious about is garnishes. So, normally if I'm talking about garnishes, what I would always say is realistically they're there to either enhance the inherent flavours or contrast them. Is that what you find too, or do you like to experiment? Is there a method to the madness when it comes to garnishes, basically?
Yes to all of the above.
Do you know what? I'm going to talk a little bit in here, Jamie, actually, if you're all right with that. I always think there's two ways you can do garnish well with a gin and tonic, and it's questions we're going to come on to later on that guests through towards us that message on the Facebook group. You either roll with the flavours that are in the gin or you roll against them, and by that I mean you either complement what's in the gin. So if it tastes lemony or it tastes orangey or it tastes rhubarby or whatever it tastes like, you use a garnish that's going to complement that. Or you roll against it, which is the counterintuitive sometimes. So something fruity might work really, really well with something like ginger ale, because you've got that fruity sweetness, but then you need something slightly spicy to balance it up. It's almost like making a little mini cocktail, but just with a gin and tonic. And then the garnish fits in as well. So, do you know what? It's surprisingly easy, but the best solution I've got for anyone listening or watching is just go and buy a whole bunch of mixes and try them. Because if you find a bunch of mixes you like, you'll probably be able to make them with different gins. We're still there, but...
So what we've got is... thanks for that, fellas. Sean, any other questions?
No, that's great. Really enjoying it. Thanks.
Sweet. So we've got another message from one of our pals. This is Louis from Seven Crofts.
Yes, good man.
Evening folks, my name's Louis, I'm from the Hang Liquor Company. This evening I'm drinking Seven Crofts gin, Bon Accord tonic and garnishing with some apple since we don't have any orange inside the flat. Cheers!
Good man. So Louis drinking some Seven Crofts with some Bon Accord, another great local tonic water.
Yeah, the guys at Bon Accord, credit where credit's due, they were very kind. When we first started getting locked down in the bar, they dropped off some tonic for us to give out to the staff so they could make some gin and tonics at home. So big tip of the cap to the guys at Bon Accord. Genuinely some super tasty mixes as well as just the tonics. So anyone in the Scottish end of things, keep your eyes peeled. It's an old school brand that's been brought back to life.
Yeah, and I'm quite impressed with the Seven Crofts gin as well. I really love the bottle and also some cracking liquid, so well worth checking out.
Super sexy bottle. Yeah, it's one of those beautiful bits of glass that looks good in anyone's bar. Right, I reckon we should crash on, and I think the next thing we were going to try and do was answer some questions from the general public while pouring ourselves another gin and tonic. Is that roughly where we're at?
Sounds good.
I think so. Now, we're going to bring in everyone onto the chat here, so we're going to have 5 faces.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
So we're going to see how this goes.
Finn, you've got to unmute yourself.
I'm unmuted.
You hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, before we bring all 5 of us, we need to introduce the 5th guest.
Yes, that's a really good point, actually.
Yeah, I'm going to talk to our next guest in a little bit more detail later, but here we have Mr. Stevie Aitken.
Hello, how you doing?
Hi,
Can you Stevie?
Yeah, how you doing?
So we're going to chat a little bit about cocktails in a bit, mate, but I just wanted to introduce your face to everyone before we go to 5. So we've got 5 faces on the screen now, fellas, and we've got some questions from the public. James.
Right, I'm going to try and do this. I've got it all loaded beside me on the iPad, so I disappear in and out of screen. I'm just reading things. So, first of all, massive thank you to the general public that have all posted loads of comments, both on the pages and also privately. But I'm going to read out some of the better ones because some of them are good. Some of them we're going to touch on later, but I'm still not going to ignore them. I think the first question that got posted yesterday is one of my favourites. It's 2 questions. How do you make a bramble? And what do I do with strawberry gin? Now, I'm going to gloss straight over this one because I think we're going to touch on it later on with Stevie. We're going to make a bramble and we're probably going to talk about some strawberry liquid. So that's the first one I get to ignore. The second one is actually probably the more interesting one. And Jamie, this is probably one for you. I've always wanted to know old and traditional drinks my aunt used to drink. The gin fizz and the pink gin. And that's from a guy called Andy War. So do you fancy taking that one and telling us what the crack is?
Thanks, Andy. Yes, so we are actually going to do a Tom Collins in a little bit, so very similar to an old gin fizz. So we're going to come back to that. Gin, however, that classic a navy drink. So what's really funny about nowadays, obviously we've got this proliferation of pink gins. So gins flavoured with strawberry or raspberry or various different botanicals, which is a very, very different drink from the classic old pink gin. I would quite enjoy watching one of the like an old boy going into a bar now and asking for a pink gin, because he'd get a very different drink than he's expecting. A pink gin classically was neat gin, room temperature, with some Angostura bitters in there. So just neat booze, no sweetness, no strawberries, no raspberries. Just a real like hard shot of gin with a little bit of Angostura bitters.
Nice.
That's the classic. You still it down a little bit, but
punchy old school drinks, basically.
Exactly.
Right. So the next one we've got down is, I'm going to ignore one of them because I know you guys are going to touch on it later on, which is gin garnishes. But the next one down is from Alex Dunnett. Some suggestions for the best mixes to use with spice gins. The gin I have to taste tomorrow is a Clootie Dumpling by Rock Rose. Great gin. Any suggestions for food pairings with gin would be nice as well. So, guys, spice gin. Finn, do you want to take this one? I know it's not an Edinburgh gin area, man.
Yeah, absolutely. I think with spiced gins, the spicier they are, the bolder you can be with your pairings. So I think either ginger ales, sometimes ginger beers, although they tend to be a bit stronger. But like, was the question about food pairings as well, or? Yeah,
it was mainly to do with the spiced gin side, but also the mentioning food pairings.
Yeah, so I mean, I always find gin and seafood work beautifully together. But on the spicy end of things, you could go venison, game ear meats, all that sort of thing. You know, juniper and venison are perfect together because if the deer eat juniper berries, so whatever it eats, it works with. You know, we have Cannonball Gin, which is a dreamboat with in a martini, and it's very, very heavily spiced with Szechuan peppercorns. And I would go for a classic martini with that. You know, it's kind of an absolute staple in my house. But in terms of like longer drinks and mixers, I would lean towards a ginger beer or ginger ale.
Yeah, I think I'm a big fan of the any of the ginger style products. They're also a brilliant gateway. If you've got any friends that don't drink gin as a rule of thumb, giving them a gin and ginger is an amazing way to kind of trick them into starting on their gin journey.
Yeah, I was going to say one of the mixers I really think, rather heathen actually, but one of the mixers I really enjoy with a spice gin is actually Iron Brew.
Yes.
It just takes Yeah, I don't know why it works so well, but the flavours seem to contrast quite well. So that could be a fun one to try if you're looking for something a bit different.
Yeah, 100%. And in terms of food pairings, I'm going to chuck another one out there. It's possibly the wrong time of year for it, but if you're ever serving a cheese board at Christmas time, don't bother with port. Go for fruity gins or slow gins.
Yeah,
They're absolutely incredible with a cheese board. Something like a really nice blue cheese or a really nice port with some slow gin is absolutely brilliant. Just on ice. You don't even need a mixer. That's a brilliant pairing. Right, I'm going to carry on down the list here. So we've done pink gin, we've done food pairings. Andrew Lightwood. I'll loan up to this chap. He actually is the owner of Cushy Doos. He said, where do you see the gin market going? I see flavoured gins continuing to grow. Finn, I'm not going to throw this to you because Edinburgh Gin does all the flavoured gins. Sean, you're the impartial man in this. Where do you see the gin market moving to?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's going to be a bit more experimentation with regards to flavours. I know there's been an interest in full strength flavoured gins. Like instead of the traditional gin liqueurs would be about 20%. You're now beginning to see full strength gin liqueurs such as the ones that Edinburgh Gin are doing. Mist Ale have got. So essentially, it seems to be the way that things are going to go forward now is that people are going to be experimenting a bit more with that flavour sides. But also, I'm kind of hoping we might see a bit of a resurgence of a traditional style gin, either an Old Tom's or even just a really strong return to that Juniper Forward.
Yeah, I mean, I think the Juniper Forward thing is an interesting one. I mean, we'll name drop someone in here, Matthew Pawley at Harriet Watt. He loves his Juniper Forward gins and is a big advocate of the idea of kind of sticking to the old school. Do you know what? We'll see where we end up. I think the situation is that flavoured gins are now a part of the landscape and it's not going to go away. And I'm all for it if it's going to bring people into the gin category. And my hope is that they then kind of adapt more and get more involved in the traditional juniper-led clear gins, but the reality of it is we want to bring everyone along the journey with us. So it's a good one. The next question I've got is quite a good one. It's to do with, it's more of a technical one. Jamie, it might be one for you if you're still on mic. I've got a bottle of Apothecary Rose Old Curiosity Secret Herb Garden. What should I use for garnish and mixers? Jamie, we got you. You're muted. Jamie, you're on mute. Yeah, that's you back. Yeah, you're back.
Yeah, okay, good. Okay, so I've turned my mic on now. So when it comes to garnishes, my bit of advice always, rather than giving you specific ones, because what's the point in me telling you to garnish it with pink grapefruit if you don't like pink grapefruit? The best bit of advice I can give you, and also the most fun part of this, is just to try out a bunch of different garnishes. Pour yourself 10 gin and tonics. I mean, invite your friends if you want, but lockdown, so
Yeah.
maybe
small ones, yeah, don't
But pour yourself those different gin and tonics. Just stick to the same gin and same tonic, but put different garnishes in there, and figure it out for yourself. Try different categories if you like. So put some citrus in there, put some floral, put some lavender perhaps, put some rosemary in there, put some cinnamon. So try various different combinations and see what sticks with you, because that is the only thing that I can give you that is the work. Because we kind of get too bogged down on this idea of perfect serve sometimes, in that we should only drink one gin one week.
Yeah, agreed.
That way, or if you don't have that particular garnish, then does that mean you're not going to enjoy that gin as much? Or could it be better if you had something that they recommend? Pick your own favourite. It's the only thing that I can really give you rather than specifics.
There is one tiny technical I'm going to follow up with on this one, just from a geek side, is any of the colour changing gins, like any of the Old Curiosity ones that are will in theory change colour, you need to use something like tonic water for the citric acid, because it's the citric acid that makes it change colour. So tiny bit of geek, but if you use regular tonic water, it should change from blue to pink or pink to green or whatever colour it's supposed to change to. But you need to use regular tonic. Right, I'm just going to one look down here. And I think the last few comments I've got, actually, you guys are going to cover in the cocktail ones, so I might leave it for the cocktail side. So that's us kind of done the questions from the general public side. I think the next section we're going to look at was a bit of fun. It was going to be a crash course on the history of gin. Now, I've typed out some hilarious notes here, which are going to try and rattle through for the timeline for you guys of gin. Can I add that I've just poured myself another gin and tonic. I'm hoping everyone else has. This is still supposed to be a tasting. I've gone with an obscure. It's not Scottish, it's actually Spanish, because they're struggling with all this too. It's 44 degrees north. A friend of mine gave it to me. I've wanted to try it for a while. I've not had a chance to crack it open. So tonight is the night I'm cracking it open, which seems fitting given the current problems in Spain. So there we go. That's my next one. So where are we at? So quick crash course on the history of gin. Basically kicked off in around about 200 AD, sorry, with the first juniper-led spirits. They were for medicinal reasons. Because of the booze, it slightly defeats the purpose of the medicinal reasons. So 10 out of 10 for effort, but bugger all use, frankly. That then ran all the way through. We were making and distilling all the way through. And the first real reference to gin started in Holland, or the Dutch, with Ginevra. And that was around about the 1500s. 1585 was the first time the UK really got involved, and we teamed up with the Dutch to fight the Spanish, and it was the 30-year war. And this is where the term Dutch courage came from, because people would drink Ginevra, as it was called, which is, I guess, a form of gin, before they went into battle. So this was the first real contact we had as the UK with gin. Fast forward about another 150 odd years, and we're into 1689, and our good friend William of Orange. I'm going to ignore the politics, and yeah, the Glasgow Massive laughing in the background. He came over, took the UK throne, or the English throne as it was back then, and made gin super popular with the royal court. And back then they were our celebrities, so we copied them. 1694, so only a couple of years later, William of Orange decided the best thing he could do was tax beer and reduce tax on gin. Easy. What did we all start drinking? The thing that was cheaper. Around about then, our friend Old Tom Gin appeared. Now, for any of you guys that haven't come across Old Tom Gins, they tend to be a bit fuller in flavour. They tend to be a tiny bit sweeter. There's all sorts of crazy stories about why they exist, but let's put it down to like plague-based London in the 1700s. They were mental liquids, and they have shown a massive regrowth recently. The idea being that they're fuller in flavour. The Old Tom references a black cat, so it was an Old Tom cat. That's where they got their name from. Fast forward about another 50 years, and we're 1751. William Hogarth decides to do a famous painting called Gin Lane. The plan with Gin Lane was to paint a painting that represented how smashed we were all getting on gin. To give you a rough idea, we were drinking 10 million gallons of gin a year in London, and there were 500,000 people. So it's mental statistics. 1761, Thomas Dankin, a few of you guys might have seen that as a more modern brand, formed Greenall's Gin. And that became very much more the modern classics. And that was really around the time we started to see London dry gins start to appear. And we'll touch on them later on. 1870, our little friend Mr. Schweppes invented carbonation. He was the guy that invented the whole idea of fizzy drinks. And on the back of that, launched Indian tonic water. So if it wasn't for our friend Mr. Schweppes, we wouldn't have tonic. Fast forward a little bit further, 1920s American Prohibition. Well, it doesn't really have a massive reference on gin, but it has a massive reference on gin cocktails. Suddenly, gin cocktails became a thing. And we were drinking them, and we were drinking them across Europe as well as the Americas. Fast forward a bit further, and gin was basically in the doldrums. We were drinking it, but there was only a handful of brands, really. And the next big, really key date was 1988, where Bombay Sapphire launched itself. Fast forward a little bit further to around the millennium, and we had the launch of Hendrick's Gin and Tanqueray 10, those two being absolutely Stonewall classics. They're not as old as we think they are, but they have been around into a while now, and they are utterly brilliant liquids. Fast forward a bit further, and then nothing really happened. And then in 2008, something really interesting happened. And this is probably the bit that you'll find most interesting. Gin was outlawed due to something called the Gin Act that had been repealed. And a little brand, better known to you guys as Sipsmith, challenged this and won the court case. And in 2008, they were able to win the right to make small batch gin. Gin has got popular not because we've all started drinking it, just simply because they won that court case and we were able to produce small batch gin. So small stills like what Finn's got in gin and what I've got in 56 North wouldn't exist if it wasn't for those guys. And then subsequent to 2008, the world is chaos. We have loads of brands, loads of flavour. Everyone's inventing everything, and it's utterly amazing. But tip of the cap to our friends at Sipsmith. I think all of us will know someone that works for them. They're an incredible brand, and if it wasn't for them, a lot of us wouldn't exist. And that's for literally 3 minutes, not even 2.5, 3 minute crash course on the history of gin. If you followed any of that, well done. But the next plan we've got for you guys is some cocktails. It seems like the logical thing to do at this stage is to get some cocktails on the board. Jamie, you still there, mate?
Hello.
You're muted again. He loves muting himself, doesn't he? Jamie, you there?
The thing is, so just to explain, my audio is not through the Skype call, therefore you four fellas can't hear me, but everyone else can.
Nice. Okay. Right. Fair point.
Unmute you now. Okay.
No, that's good. What I was going to say was
sorry.
Cocktails next. I think it's key that we keep the tasting and the drinking side of this going. It's a Friday night. It's 6:30. It's prime hour. It's post work drinks. So there's loads of cocktail stuff we can do with gin, but I know you guys have got some specific ideas. Do you want to take over with Stevie?
Yes, I will indeed. So I am going to talk a little bit about kind of basics of cocktails, really. I've tried to move my mic a little bit closer, so hopefully you can hear me all right. I'm going to run through some basics, and then I'm going to introduce Stevie, who's going to make some really amazing cocktails for us. But as I said, the purpose of this is to try and show you how to make great cocktails at home. And in order to understand how to do that, we need to understand the ingredients that we use and why we use them. Of course, gin is very important. That is our number one ingredient, and the particular choice of gin will determine what kind of cocktail that we make. But then the other ingredients in there are important for their own reason. So what I thought I'd make is a really classic cocktail called a Tom Collins, which is a simple tall drink with sparkling water, which I realise is in the kitchen. Sarah, if you're listening, can you grab me some sparkling water, please? Thank you. We are going to have some gin, some lemon juice, normally sugar, and then sparkling water. I'm going to make a slight variation on that and kind of explain how we can make our own kind of custom cocktails at home, and explain each of these ingredients and what they actually do. So the first thing we need to do is get our equipment. Now, I've got here our cocktail shaker. So I've got our Boston shaker, which we're going to add all the ingredients and give it a shake. However, it is very important to note that you don't have to have the professional equipment in order to make good drinks. All you need is something that you can seal, and you can make a cocktail shaker. Thank you, Sarah. All you need is something that you can seal. So, for example, if you've got a Tupperware box, if you've got a microwavable soup mug like this that has a lid, you can use anything that will seal. You can use as a cocktail shaker, so you don't require the proper equipment. And also, of course, measuring using our jigger here, our measure, using 25 or 50 ml measures, for example. However, it's also important to note that you don't need a measurement, because cocktails are all about ratios. It's not about the actual amounts that you put in, as long as they are in relation to others in balance. So instead of giving you measurements, I'm going to give you ratios. I'm going to give you in parts. So if your part is 25 mils, one part is 25 mils. if you're using an egg cup, 1 part is 1 egg cup. Whatever you've got there. If you've got your microwavable soup mug as your 1 part, you can use that as 1 part. As long as when you get 2 parts, you do 2 of that same measurement. Okay. So we're going to add to our shaker of choice. Of course, we need our gin. So for this one, I've got another lovely Scottish gin. This one here is Ben Lomond. You can't quite see that, judging by my video quality. But I've got Ben Lomond here. They use round berries and they use brambles from here in Scotland to give a slight kind of fruitiness. We are going to use... You guys hear me okay? Can you hear me, guys?
Have we lost sound on Jamie?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, you're back, mate. I'm
Hey,
mute myself
excellent. Okay.
again. Keep going.
Good stuff. Okay. So we're going to use a Ben Lomond. We are going to use 50 ml of vodka, so 2 parts of our gin. Add that to our shaker. We need to add lemon juice. Now, whether you use lemon juice or whether you use lemon juice, acidity is the key. This is one thing that a lot of people making drinks at home miss out. Acidity gives you a nice refreshing quality, and it means that your drink will last longer on your palate, and it'll be much more pleasant than having a very sweet drink. So to this, we're going to add 1 part of lemon juice. Of course, with lemon juice or any other type of acidity, it's sour, so we need to balance that out. In order to do so, we need some sweetness. So we normally can use just regular sugar syrup. So that is 1 part sugar to 1 part water. So all you need to do is just boil up a kettle of water, add 500 grams of sugar, just granulated sugar, and 500 mils of your boiling water. Stir that until it all dissolves and let it cool. Very, very easy. Now, the wonderful thing about this is that this is a great way of introducing lots of flavour into your drink, because you can make a variety of different flavoured syrups. So, down here you might not be able to see, but I've actually got a little induction hob. This is just to demonstrate that you can make your own flavoured syrups. So get a pan, add your water, add your sugar, let that dissolve, and then add in an ingredient of your choice. Let that simmer for 20 minutes. Of course, it will depend on the ingredient that you use. Some will take longer than others, but once that has been simmering for 20-30 minutes, take it off the heat, let it cool, strain out the solids, and you've got yourself a flavoured syrup. Some you might need to leave for days or even weeks to really infuse. This one I've done in advance. This one is a chamomile tea syrup. So all I've done here, another ingredient that many people have in their house already. So chamomile tea, boil up water, make your tea, and then put it into a pot, reduce that down. So I had a half a part of our syrup, of our sugar.
Jamie, I think we're losing you again, are we?
Yeah, I can't. I've got my headphones in. I can't hear myself. Tell you what.
Oh dear.
I'm going to cut to I'm going to cut to Stevie.
Stevie,
can you hear me?
Cut to Stevie. That's a good plan. Jamie, we'll come back to you when you sort your bandwidth.
Stevie, you're on.
It's what people have been waiting for.
Exactly, Stevie. Well, Jamie's figuring it out, and in case he's got dodgy audio, I'm going to take over again just to help you out. So I'm going to introduce you, Stevie. Arbiki Gin.
Yes.
And distillery, which is whiskey and vodka and everything under the goddamn sun. And it's farm field to bottle. I'm doing your sales pitch for you. But we got you involved because your background's making a few tasty drinks. So we'd had a fair few messages about the idea of making cocktails that were, simple things to do at home that didn't involve huge number of ingredients or overly complex stuff. So do you want to do your bit? Do you want to make a couple of tasty drinks and show the guys what to do?
Yeah, absolutely. So first of all, thanks very much to the guys for inviting me on. For those who don't know me or don't know Arbiki, my name is Steve Aitken. I am the UK brand ambassador for Arbiki Island Estate. We make vodka and gin. As James says, the whole operation is field to bottle, so everything that we can grow, we do grow. These are the 3 gins that we have at the moment. We've got Kirsty's gin, we've got Nadar gin, which is the world first climate positive gin, and we've got Ash gin, which is our little kind of charity gin, so we give a little portion of that every bottle sold to NND charity. I'm unfortunately not drinking, well, not unfortunately, I'm not drinking RBK at the moment because I had to buy something I bought my mum, so I'm having a Harris. So I'm going to talk you through a little bit about cocktails that you can do in the house. But as Jamie was saying, you don't always necessarily have or trainers or mixing glass or anything like that. Anyone who is the ex-bartender in the group or current bartender in the group, every time you go to someone's house, they're always asking you, can you make us a drink? But obviously you don't always have the right equipment. So obviously Louise Murray had asked us how to make a Bramble. So we're going to make a Bramble. I do have a cocktail shaker here, but that's a bit of a waste of time. We're not going to use that. I'm going to show you how to do a Bramble in a Tupperware. So slightly different. So the Bramble is a classic drink. It's created by a guy called Dick Bradsell, who he made a lot of the drinks you know and love, like Espresso Martini, Bramble, and my personal favourite, which is a Treacle. So he was a very influential bartender in the 80s. So he wanted to get a drink based around British summertime. So we wanted to. So the first thing you think of British summertime is obviously gin. That's obviously gin and tonic out the back.
Can you go on mute, please?
Sorry.
Not you, Stevie.
What,
Not you, Stevie.
Oh, okay. Don't tell me. So what you want with that is really quite nice, kind of delicate, citrusy floral gin. So you use the Arbiki Kirsty's because always on brand. So you're going to do about 40 ml of that. Just should be into your mixing glass or shaker, but into your Tupperware for the season's purposes. I've got about 20 ml of lemon juice. This is a glass that my mum got for an engagement. I found out today, it's the first time it's ever been used, so no pressure. We do about 20 ml of that. Again, into your Tupperware there. And just a half shot of sugar syrup. Again, being down at my mum's, we've got the posh Demerara sugar, so it'll be slightly different. So a half shot of that in there. And I'm just going to fill this up with ice here. Unlike Jamie, unfortunately, I don't have access to any ice, so I've got wet Morrison's ice from a pot. So don't quite have the bar set up. We'll pop that in there, keep it nice and sealed, like Jamie was saying earlier. As long as you can seal something, you can shake a cocktail on it. It doesn't necessarily have to be your kind of cocktail shaker. So we're just going to give that a good shake. We'll try and not open it all over the place. Just open that up. I'm just going to take it a little bit, make sure it's balanced. Perfect. So this drink is served over crushed ice. So again, I've got my delicately crushed ice out the back. Throw it up there. A little bit. Just try and strain that over the top. And the last ingredient in your Bramble is creme de mure, or anything your kind of gin and your kind of favourite fruity gin liqueur, or I'm going to use creme de cassis. It's quite similar, it's kind of nice raspberry liqueur. So just a half shot of that over the top. So that's all poured through there. Obviously, in a full bar with a kind of big mound of crushed ice from the crushed ice machine, it's going to all filter down there and look a little bit nicer. And then just finish that off with a little Bramble and a little bit of lemon. So obviously, you got your lemon juice in there. Sean was saying earlier that a garnish should either complement or be a contrast to what's in there. With this one, we're using the lemon juice and the blackberry to complement the cassis, and obviously the lemon juice is in there as well. So that's a crumble. As I say, Louise Murray, that's just how to make that. So we're just having kind of summery citrusy drinks at the back.
I'm giving you a round of applause.
To compliment the camera work here.
I know. It's almost like you're a cameraman.
I've actually enlisted my younger brother to be the cameraman for this evening because
Beautiful.
I don't think the level of drinks matched up to a laptop screen, so got a bit GoPro on it.
Yeah, fair.
A whole team had a team cutting, other people cutting citrus, people squeezing lemons for me. It's great. I'm back to being a bar manager.
The cameraman's now stealing your drinks as well, but they look damn good, mate. So I've just said in the comments, actually, what we'll do is we'll post specs to how to make all these drinks after we finish the live feed, so that if you guys are bored at home and you want to have a go at any of these things, or you're doing your critical shop, you can add these ingredients to your critical shops to make the drinks afterwards. But well done, Stevie. Top drink.
So we've got one more drink for you guys as well. Just while we're here.
Now, Stevie, before you crack on with your last one,
yep.
I just thought we wanted to chat, because we didn't really get the chance to properly introduce you. Tell us a little bit about like your background, where you've kind of got to where you are now.
Cool. So I'm currently the UK brand ambassador for RBK, as I said. But it was a bit of one of those kind of no wrong path things. I bartended when I was in Australia. I came back to the UK and I was working on horrible sales jobs. I know my pal Jess is watching, who used to call me a tampon photographer because I worked for P&G, which was part of my job. Photos of displays of always. And then I moved back up to Edinburgh in another kind of horrible sales job that I really didn't like. A little bit lost about what to do, and then my good friend Johnny Linstead offered me a job at Voodoo Rooms, originally part-time and then went on to full-time and irreplaceable. So I worked there for about 3.5 years, and then Adam, who was my old boss, approached me to take over 1 day a week for RBK just in Leith. And that was about 2 years ago now. So I've done from 1 day a week to the whole of the UK in about 1.5 years, which is just a little bit of a jump. But yeah, the company I work for, as I say, RBK, were fuel to bottle, really, really good operation. It's all family run. And I love it. I love the fact about my job that I get to go out and still have that kind of lifestyle of being a bartender without doing the 2 a.m. hours. So still get to go chat to people, spend most of my day talking to people, talking about drinks and talking about how we can help each other and everything like that, which is really what I'm all about.
Yeah, brilliant. So when
Stevie, I've got one for you, just if you're still there, mate. A couple of comments popping up about the new pea-based gin.
Yeah.
Yes. Do you want to quickly explain it? Because it is kind of a cool project, and in this current time, it's probably very relevant given the fact it's carbon positive, I believe.
Yeah, absolutely. So this is our climate positive Nadar gin. So this is the first gin in the world made from peas for the base spirit. So when you're making a gin, you need a base. So normally that would be potatoes, barley, wheat, anything like that. So our two gins that we have here are a potato and wheat base. But Kirsty, who is our master distiller, who's a bit of a genius, she has been working on a PhD for the last 5 years on extracting alcohol from legumes, so beans, peas, things like that. And the reason that this is climate positive, in a nutshell, there's a whole 600-page essay that I could send you, but it's a Friday night, so I'm going to give you my elevator pitch of it. Basically, peas and beans, or legumes, are nitrogen enhancers, so they fix the soil. So potatoes and wheat are really bad for the soil, so they consume a lot of nitrogen, which is why you then need to use a nitrogen fertilizer. You have to do another process of cleaning the soil by planting something. Whereas with the legumes, as I say, they create nitrogen. So what we've done is planted enough bees alongside fields in the wheat that they're already using, and they produce enough nitrogen for them to grow. So we then cut out your nitrogen fertilizer, we cut out that extra farming process as well. So every bottle of this that we produce actually reduces the farm's carbon footprint by 1.5 kilos, and that's including like bottling and production and everything like that. So the actual liquid, I don't know the figures, but the actual liquid will be a lot more climate positive than that. But that's when we subtract all the processes, it's 1.5 kilos.
That is absolutely incredible. Like, it's so cool. Like, the liquid's really good as well. I tried it for the first time the other week in 56, and do you know what? It's super tasty as well. So well done.
Can I just make a shout out to Kirsty Black as well for being the most badass woman in Scottish gin as well, for creating this amazing product as well.
I know. We've been getting a lot of abuse for a whole bunch of guys with beards and then one guy making cocktails that doesn't. But we were yeah, exactly. But Kirsty's the sort of female rock star of the gin world. Credit where credit's due. She is an unbelievable distiller. So all power to Kirsty.
She's an unbelievable distiller. She's really cool person as well. But my favourite thing about Kirsty is that everyone's got a photo on the back of the bottles. But Kirsty, while she's an amazing distiller, she's really modest, and all we've got is a photo of her boots on the back because she doesn't want that. But the actual liquid itself, I say, doesn't hurt that it's really, really tasty. So we've got a polytunnel up at the farm where we grow basically everything that goes in the gins. So we've got lemongrass, kaffir lime, angelica oris, and licorice root in there. Which is why it gets a lot of people are worried that it's going to taste the peas. The best way I heard it described was our potato vodka doesn't taste the chips. So you're not getting that kind of pea flavour to it. What you are getting is really nice kind of citrus and kind of real bit of sweetness and spice, which is why it works really well in a Negroni. I'm going to make myself and the cameraman one. But as I say, we're not going to do it in a mixing glass. And in turn, keeping time with reduce, reuse, recycle, I've got my old soup time for my lunch. Chuck in our Campari, sweet vermouth, and the dark gin. Right, scoop of ice and give it a stir.
That ladle sound makes good radio.
It does.
Yeah, luckily that isn't the podcast.
I think the Talking Pod is going to have to go video as well now. It's like we've been upgraded.
Yeah. I'd hate to see what it was
calls in the comments to make this a regular thing.
I know everyone seems to be having great fun. So I'm glad.
Friday night lockdown cocktails with us.
Yeah, I'll come back.
I'm happy to keep this rolling on a Friday night. I'm sure there's plenty of guests, so we can figure out all the bandwidth stuff.
Can we take turns in being a director?
No.
From the looks of the stresses you've had the last week, mate, no.
We'll look back at this and the terrible technical issues we had.
Boom.
Nice.
Nice, Stevie.
So, classic gin cocktail. I'll post a recipe up of this one as well. If you've not tried a Negroni before, it's an utterly brilliant drink. It's quite bitter, it's quite intense, and it is a bit of an acquired taste. But I think once you acquire the taste, it's one that's very hard to put down. Excellent.
Can we also have a round of applause for Stevie's amazing shirt as well? I mean,
Can we get a close up on the shirt? Is the cameraman there? Can we get a close up on the shirt?
I mean, he's really put the rest of us to shame, to be honest. So
he's gone full botanical shirt. It's incredible.
I'm gutted nobody's asked me to take it off yet.
it's too late looking on. Just leave it on.
Excellent stuff.
Good work. I just wanted to, Stevie, while you had you on, mate. My question was to, how do you? So you said you talk about drinks all the time, and obviously you've been working from bars to your current role. How do you come up with new drinks? How can people get inspiration for making their own drinks at home?
What I normally do is just pick a drink that's your favourite. So, for example, my favourite drink is actually a Negroni, which is why I want to make food today. So if I'm ever thinking of a new drink, I'll start with that as a base and try and riff off of that. So you take your favourite drinks and the things that you like from that. So I like the bitterness of Campari with it. So then you sort of go down that route. That and just ask bartenders. And one of the biggest tips I ever got from one of my kind of bar hero, a guy called Mark Wyatt in Australia, was just go in and watch bartenders. So you go sit in the bar, even if you just order a pint, just watch what they're doing, and then you can kind of pick up.
One of my favourite things to do.
Yeah, exactly. I know it's tough. It's a tough gig researching. But yeah, just go in and watch them, ask them questions, learn about different flavours and things like that. And that's probably the best way to do it.
Nice one.
Jamie, are we going to cut back? Sorry, mate. I was going to say we're going to cut back. Because I believe from the comments earlier that when we thought we'd lost you, it was us losing your feed, not the general public losing your feed. So, do you want to finish your Tom Collins, or are you going to just budge on?
I thought you'd never ask. I've had that button on the switch to put it back to me this whole time.
Brilliant.
But so I want to kind of quickly point out that obviously we're kind of stuck in our homes at the moment, but just like we were talking about earlier on, there's no reason why we can't be creative. There's a bunch of things we can do to try and figure out new recipes, and we'll come back to Tom Collins in a wee second. But to try and figure, so often one of the questions that I get asked is, what flavours go with others, and that kind of relates to the garnish question as well. One bit of advice I can give you is go and find a cookbook. A lot of what we do as bartenders, especially in the last 10-20 years, comes from the kitchen. We've experimented a lot with different flavours and ingredients because of the big revolution that happened in the kitchens, because we've been much more experimental, and we've learned a lot from that. So bartenders use that kind of thing. So pick up your nearest cookbook, even if it's just to see what flavours they use together, and that's your base to try and figure out new drinks. There's other books as well. You can get obviously cocktail books. You might not be able to see here, but things like Good Things to Drink by Ranchetti. We've got the Flavour Thesaurus, will give you some great ideas of what drinks or what ingredients go together. Or I thought I'd highlight a book that I found in my little library called Wild Cocktails. Over 100 recipes using homegrown and foraged fruits, which I thought we could all use on our one exercise of the day. So, Tom Collins, where were we? We've got our lemon juice in there for some acidity. We've got some sweetness. We need our chamomile syrup, and that was half a part of our chamomile syrup. So in our instance, it's 12.5 mils. So what we need to do now is give us a good shake. I'm going to mute my audio for this. I'm slightly out of breath for that now. So shake this up. The reason we shake a cocktail is for a few reasons. We need to obviously mix the ingredients together. We need to chill it down. We need to dilute it slightly, which is a good thing, and also to aerate the cocktail. So I've shaken those ingredients up. We are going to put into our highball glass. So again, we're going to use our equipment that we'd find lying about the house. In this case, I've got our strainer, but wherever you've got to allow the liquid to pass through, but without the ice. We're going to strain into our glass. Fill up with ice. And add our sparkling water over the top. Now, a good thing is this, as I said, we can customize this. we can add various different liqueurs in there for extra flavour. So there's maybe raspberry, or if you've got, like many will have, our Edinburgh Gin raspberry and ginger liqueur. Give us a quick little stir. And there we have a real basic, simple cocktail, back from the 1870s with Jerry Thomas's first book. But this kind of nicely explains the different ingredients that we use in a cocktail. Feel free to make your own version at home. Stick some comments down below on what you've made, stick some photos, and we'll do our best to reply later on. Cheers. You're back. Are you there, guys?
I'm here.
Good.
Don't know if James is there.
Well,
I'm here again.
before we move on to the next bit, we're going to cut to a little video by another one of our friends here. This is Linlithgow Distillery.
Hi everyone, cheers from Linlithgow Distillery.
Be safe, everyone. Enjoy.
Boys,
Good stuff.
what's next?
So I think the final bit I was going to end on was a bit of a gin quiz. I don't know how you guys feel about this one. How's the general knowledge on the gin side sitting?
Mine's pretty good.
I was going to say, if we do badly at this one, is that we're all doomed. But 10 quick fire questions. I don't know if anyone's got a pen and paper to hand or they want to scribble this down as we go. But I've got
9.
Are they only getting 9? Okay, I'm skipping the last question.
You question 5 when you sent me them.
That's one I didn't think you would get.
Oh well, okay. I obviously struggling to count to 10 during the current situation. Right. So question 1.
Yeah, I'm gonna cheat and use my book that I've got. You know, obviously.
Nice. I've got another gin and tonic. I'm fine.
Instructions up on the screen.
Right. So Jamie,
play along at home.
Are you ready for this? Shall I do question 1?
Yes.
Right. What's the key botanical used to make gin? Shh. Don't go the answer. You're not to answer. You're giving answers on screen as well. We got to give people a chance to get this. I'll read the answers out at the end, Jamie. How about that?
I can add an extra question on at the end if that one doesn't.
Right. So question 2.
Yep.
What does it mean if a gin is called a London Dry Gin? Now I've got choices here. A particular production method that has been followed to make the gin. B, the gin was made somewhere in the Greater London area. C, the gin was made within the tight City of London boundaries. And then D, the gin is less sweet than other types of gin. Okay? Right, so the next question. What is the minimum strength of a bottle of gin to legally be called gin? This will be the ABV or the percentage that you see on a gin bottle. There's choice again.
Number 2 on this, but it's actually question 3.
I know, I can't count. I'm sorry. I did 2 question 2s, I noticed in my notes. 3 choices. 4 choices. A is 35% ABV. B is 37.5% ABV. C is 40% ABV. And D is 32.7% ABV.
Yeah.
There's a lot of strong answers coming on here, and someone's asking, is this within the EU? Yes, it is.
Nice.
Technical fucking.
Spot geek. Was that Matthew Pauly by any chance?
No, it wasn't actually. It was Andrew at Cushy do, but it's a strong question. Ginevra, the precursor to modern gin, we talked about it earlier on, originated in which country? You're not getting any options on this one, guys. It's a straight yes or no. So, which country did it originate in? Question 5. Tonic water was drunk by colonial soldiers in the 19th century India because the quinine it contained helped stave off which disease? I have choices. A, the mumps. B, influenza. And C, malaria.
What did you not want to go with D?
D, chlamydia, but I got overruled.
Not by me, I may add.
Yeah. Question 6, guys. Which country consumes the most gin per person? It's a tough one. This is a hard one. I'm not giving you options, but it's a strong one.
I'll be impressed if anybody gets this.
I got it.
I'm guessing Matthew Paul will probably get it.
Matthew Paul has just put Brewers Drew.
Is that a country? Is that a country?
Spain as a guess. Which country? We're getting some good options, but no one's got it right yet. I'm going to watch it for a second.
I know, boss.
I know you'll know. Yeah,
we can't.
It is an obscure one. I'm not going to lie.
I know the answer to this, but
come back to that. Right. So, question number 7: how strong is Navy strength gin? It's an exact number or higher. It can be higher, but there's a minimum number. Okay.
Places.
Well, there's a few people getting the right answer for the country one. Question 8. What was Old Tom Gin named after? I did mention it earlier. Question number 8. Ian Fleming, the Bond author, left an additional impression on gin drinkers. He's credited with inventing a cocktail which is a cousin of the martini that contains gin, vodka, and Kia Lillet with a twist of lemon. I'll add a little bit in here to make it slightly easier for you guys. We want the name of the drink, but it's a recent James Bond movie character. And then lastly, what is the name of the famous illustration by William Hogarth? And fingers crossed to the text.
Hey. Okay.
Well done, Jamie.
Done. Thank you very much. That was very stressful.
Not at all, it's good. So I run through some answers. See who got what right. Right, so
okay, I've got
let me get back
on the screen as well.
Boom, that's amazing. So, question 1. What is the key botanical used to make gin? It's the obvious one, it's juniper berries.
Do we get to answer before you read the answer?
Oh, risky, in case you get anything wrong.
I'll get it right, it's fine.
I'm not worried, I mean, it's not.
What does it mean if a gin is called a London Dry gin? Well, the correct answer is A. It's a particular production method it has to follow. So basically, the easiest way to think about this is not where it's made, it's how it's made. So the correct answer there is A. What's the minimum strength of a bottle of gin to legally be called gin? Most of you guys on the thread, I know it's got this right. It's 37.5%. Question 3, the Ginevra question. Where does it originate from? It's Dutch.
No.
Or the Netherlands. Yeah.
Well, I think the Low Countries earlier on.
Yeah, the Low Countries will do too.
The Lowlands were more of a relevant thing back then.
Yeah, exactly. So the Low Countries, Holland, the Netherlands, etc. Any of those answers I would take. Tonic water was drunk by 19th century Indian soldiers to help fight malaria. So it's
chlamydia.
Right.
COVID-19, I heard
it. Question 6. Which gin consumes the most country? There were a lot of good...
Which gin consumes the most country?
I'm gonna what?
Godzilla gin?
Ginzilla, I love it.
Ginzilla. So, number 1 number one gin consuming country per person, this is the Philippines.
Philippines, mate.
They drink 1.4 litres of gin per year. For reference, this is about 6 times as much as the USA.
Calling the gin is in Manila.
Number 2 is Slovakia, of all random places.
That's incredible, man. I was quite surprised that. I mean, the Philippines...
they're about 1.2. That's mad. Number 3, unsurprisingly, is the Netherlands. They still drink tons of it. It's around about 700 ml, 70 cl a year. Spain is actually currently number 4, but I'll do a little qualification here. It looks like it may jump to number 2 this year. So that'll be a big jump.
Me through the answers that I said earlier on. For each of the ones, you gave me figures, but you just gave me number 4 Spain.
Yeah. The reason is at present it's based on 2018 numbers, 2019 numbers, and obviously it's going to jump up. It's as straightforward as that. Spain is growing at a rate of knots, and number 5, believe it or not, is us, the UK. We come in at 5th. We only consume about 400 ml per person. Now, I'm assuming the vast majority of people watching this consume more than 400 ml a year, but it's per person. We're still down the league table. So
we need to drink more gin. Is that what you're saying?
Basically, yeah. How strong is Navy Strength gin? The correct answer here is 57%, 100 proof. There's a whole story with Navy Strength gin we're not going to get into tonight, but it has to be 57% or higher. The next question was Old Tom. What's it named after? It's named after a cat, an Old Tom cat. So it's a cat. And then the tricky one, question number 9, Ian Fleming and the Bond movies. It's a brilliant drink if you've never tried it before. It's a Vesper Martini. Absolute classic. If you've not tried one, I'd highly recommend it. And then lastly, question...
the shaken not stirred comes in as well.
Yeah, exactly. Question number 10 was the painting. It's got mentioned Gin Lane. It shows the baby falling out the mother's arms. It's the famous one for Mother's Ruin. Boom.
Amazing. I was going to say, just a few people were asking, I noticed in the chat about the dog that was making random appearances, but that was Juno. She's currently sleeping. I don't know if it's to do with how boring our chat is, but she's passed out. No, she was wanting to get involved. So yeah, Juno or Juniper when she's getting out of trouble. So she was keen to see what was happening.
She's normally charging around your place, Sean.
Oh yeah, wrecking the place basically, but thankfully she's sleeping just now, so she went out with the hatch.
Brilliant. Guys, I think really there's not much more to do. I think we've got one more brand shout out, do we?
Yeah, we do indeed. We've got Lindsay from Southwark. Do you see that there, Sean?
Yeah, I was just laughing at
it. All right. One more message from Lindsay from Southwark.
Hey, it's Lindsay from South Loch Gin here. Tonight I'm drinking our Black Raspberry Old Tom with some Merchant's Heart Pink Peppercorn Tonic and using frozen strawberries for ice and a garnish.
Alright, thanks Lindsay.
Good stuff. I'm glad she's entertaining herself with a gin and tonic at least. I think the last thing to do is thank all the people that have stayed on watching. We've had, looking at the quick numbers, we've had 6,944 people involved in this at one stage or another, which is incredible. So thank you for everyone that's got involved. We've had over 1,000 comments, which is crazy. So again, thank you for everyone that's commented. I'll try and flick back through later. I've commented on a few things as we've gone when I've had a break. From people I've known, but I'll go back through and make some things. Most critically, guys, we'll put up some little gentle specs for how to make some of these drinks at home, so you can have a bit of fun with some of the stuff that Stevie and Jamie made, because part of the thing with Lockheed is also enjoying yourself. And can I just say thank you to all the guys that dialed in. Jamie, massive thank you for organising all of this. If it wasn't for your tech side, we wouldn't be here.
Yeah, you're the legs to our swan. We're just serenely swimming while you're doing all the hard work underneath. So
you are. And Finn, thank you.
After this.
I don't blame you, mate.
And Finn, thanks so much, mate, for stepping up. I know we were to you yesterday to say, could you get involved, because we needed someone that was overarching. So thank you so much for getting involved and being good patter as always.
Stevie, thank you for that shot. That was particularly. Yeah. And Sean, as always, thank you again. You're a partner in crime on the podcast as well. We might as well do a call out for that. The Talk Gin pod, there's about 18 episodes, I think, lying on Apple Podcasts. So if you haven't seen it, have a listen, because we've got all sorts of brands on it. So thank you very much. And do you know what? We might try and repeat this again in a couple of weeks' time, if not before, and get some more people involved, because it's been a lot of fun. I've enjoyed myself. It's been great.
Mix the format a bit and try and get some other people involved. But just a big round of applause from, I think, the five of us, first of all, for everyone that got involved. Thank you. It's a pleasure to keep you guys entertained, and hopefully this
is your local gin distillery.
Exactly. That was the whole reason they started.
Here are some local gin distillers you can be looking after.
Yeah.
Support your local gin distillery. Go out and buy a local. If you can, off licenses are still available, so go and support them.
Yeah, definitely. Great show.
Yeah, and can I do a final thank you to quite a lot of the gin brands as well, because we would have loved to have got more of you guys involved tonight, and you've all been utter heroes, helping share this and spread this around and do everything. I massively appreciate it, and we're trying our hardest to support you guys where we can. Obviously, particularly myself and Jamie have got our current own business stresses that we don't want to get into, but the reality of it is that we're going to bounce back stronger and hopefully support you guys more. So you guys as consumers at the far end of things, get involved. We want the small guys to be successful. It's not in any detriment to the big guys, but it's the balance between the two.
Can I also thank the tonic and ice brands that we've used tonight as well, and support them as well, because without them we wouldn't have gin and tonics or some of the amazing mixed drinks that we've got. So yeah, definitely, and buy a local if you can for them too. Cheers.
I'm trying sneaky new Fever Tree mixes that are about to get launched.
Just so hipster, James. Just so hipster.
I know.
Look after the old people on your street.
I know.
Make sure they're okay.
Yeah. But guys, listen, thank you very much. Jamie, I'm going to leave you to sign us all off. But guys, we will be back. I've enjoyed myself.
Yeah. Thank you very much. Look after each other.
Thanks, fellas.
Thank you, guys. Cheers.
Cheers. Thank you.
See you later.
Thanks very much for joining, folks. We'll do this again on the 56 North Facebook, or you can check it at Summerhall Drinks Hub, YouTube. See you another time.
Thanks, Jamie.
Thank you. Cheers.
Are we signed off? I don't